is the Rocket.Chat Engineer podcast. Welcome everyone. This is our very first episode of Rocket.Chat Engineer podcast. I'm Rodrigo Nascimento, Rocket.Chat CTO and co-founder, and your host on this podcast. We record an episode every week or so as a weekly news from our engineering side. Special interviews will come eventually to deep dive in certain features or changes. On this very first episode, I will introduce the engineering team in more details. So the first one is Douglas Gilbert, as known as Doug. He's our Apps Engine leader. He is in charge of the Apps Engine framework and review of submitted applications to our marketplace. Doug, do you want to add something?
Hello, everyone. Not really. Let's just rock this.
Right, thank you. Diego Sampaio is our backend leader and one of the co-founders of Rocket.Chat. He's in charge of the backend, the REST APIs, real-time APIs, and database performance, and responsible by the core releases and many other things. So, Diego, do you want to add something about you?
Nope, it's fine.
Right, Aaron. He's our cloud leader in charge of the cloud host infrastructure and SaaS offering, the cloud UI and many servers that we provide as well. So, Aaron, you want to say something else?
Hello, everybody. Next time I will probably show my face. Maybe. I'm hiding behind the picture today.
Yeah, I hope so. Guilherme Gazzo, he's our front-end leader and is in charge of the web interface, desktop application, and fuselage. That's our UI component set. Gazzo, do you want to say hi? Well, Gazzo seems to be freeze.
Oh.
Yeah, so let's move on. Diego Mello is our mobile leader in charge of both Android and iOS mobile applications. So, do you want to say hi, Diego?
Hi, guys.
Right. Yeah, we lost Gazzo. Let's see if I can put him back.
Sorry.
Yeah, Gazzo, can you hear us?
Yeah, I disconnected. I have no idea why, but you're probably right. I'm Guilherme, and I'm content leader. Yeah, I think that's it for now. It's a good point to start.
Great. And Renato Becker is our omnichannel product manager in charge of the omnichannel core integrations and the live chat widget. Renato, do you want to say something?
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Rodrigo, for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thanks.
All right. So this podcast will be basically recording of our weekly Engineer Weekly. So some news about what we did in the past days. We are going to exchange information here, and even some of the participants will, the questions for the other participants. We are almost recording our weekly basis, and we are going to have other more detailed podcasts later about some of the features that we may start talking about here today. So, Doug, what are the news on the Apps Engine this past week? Oh, you're muted. Now you're unmuted. Go ahead.
I wasn't muted. Come on.
Now
All
you're
right, all right then. So we've been researching on some queuing libraries to get it ready for us to provide our functionality for the new scheduler API. So this API we will be using an agenda-inspired API. It's a library on GitHub, so you can check it at github.com/agenda/agenda. Yep. The API will basically you will register job handlers or processors during the app's initialization, and then you will be able to queue job executions afterwards during the app execution, so that you can trigger these handlers at different points in time without needing to be to have an interaction from any kind of user or entry point, right? So we are already implementing this part. It's on initial stages, and we expect it to go out with the next release of Rocket.Chat. Next, we have also we've been working with the typing indicator API that will allow apps to, send typing indicators notification to the clients. And Shikime, who's working on this project, he's been out the last week because it was like a nationwide holiday in China where they get like 1 full week to celebrate. And but he's back now was back on Friday, so this is going to be worked on more actively. We've also had some changes on the app submission logic for the CLI, so now you're gonna have to log in the CLI before submitting an app, and we are working with the cloud team to release a new version of the CLI that will be adapted to these changes. And also in the CLI, we are following the project to remove the TS compiler from the apps engine. And we're finishing the changes needed in the CLI for that to happen. And this is also one of the things we expect to be out for the next Rocket.Chat release. That's it for me, people.
Right. Yeah, just to mention that it's important to, I guess it's important to mention that we are removing the compiler from inside Rocket.Chat to delivery. The apps are already compiled in JavaScript to the Rocket.Chat, so we can, we are not restricted to sync the TypeScript compiler between the Rocket.Chat and the apps engine anymore. So Rocket.Chat, we reduce the size as well because we're removing the compiler that's a little bit bigger, and we can introduce new features in the future like code obfuscation or things like that we can do on top of JavaScript. And it's not that you cannot do on top of TypeScript because you still need to compile the code. And of course, we can provide node modules, so you can roll up and include the code of the node modules inside the package we are delivering as well. So that's all requires the removal of the TypeScript compiler. And Doug, maybe can you say why this is the first scheduler API implementation? What else we're going to have on maybe the next releases?
I don't know.
This is a very first implementation.
like the first step.
I remember. Yeah, I remember that you talk about having this only startup only, and some other features we will land in future versions. What are their features?
Okay, right. So what we expect to do further to improve this is actually add some more management power, so that the admins can see what jobs are being scheduled by the apps in the administration page. Right now, in this first version, this is not going to be released. You're going to be able to schedule jobs and read the jobs that are scheduled already by your app, but not much more than that. And with the further iterations, we plan to expand the administration for those things even further. That's the plan.
All right, great, thank you. So on the backend, I have been working on the backend a little bit on the past days. So I can talk about the microservice part. So Diego can go later on the rest. So on my side, that I've been working on some improvements on scalability. So kind of finishing the code unification of the database watchers and notification systems via streams. So kind of removing duplicated codes. We introduced it on the very first implementation that was made by Diego Senpai and Gazo on our very first proof of concept implementation, and we are now unifying that code that was not working exactly the same, because inside Rocket.Chat was depending on Meteor, and in this microservice implementation, it was Node.js only, and now we are kind of putting everything together and reducing this duplication to prevent any things to not being sync or missing features on any of both sides, because you're going to be able to run Rocket.Chat as a monolith or as microservices, and both should use the same APIs. And yeah, we still need to do some things like add some tests to run on CI, ensure that every commit doesn't break anything. And yeah, we want to finish this and try to put it on our open server and see how it goes maybe this week. So, Diego, do you have anything else from microservices or any other thing you want to share from this past week?
Yeah, not from microservices. I think that's that you have talked about what you have been doing most actively on that. But other than that, I'd like to mention the release, the 3.7.1 release we have released last week, which includes a important performance fix that was affecting some users that have updated to some servers that have updated to the 3.7 release. And we also have been working on improving the how we manage, like how we handle the GitHub issues, like even internally from the triage to our bot integrations that used to mark issues as stale and also like close them. So we are working to improve the process.
I had a question about the streams. This is talking about the WebSocket stream, right? Like the stream type, right? Not like chain streams, but just to be clear what exactly streams you're referring to.
Yeah, that's right. That's the web client. Like we call it the streamer. It's the streams that the clients subscribe to receive real-time data.
Cool.
I have a question about the you mentioned about the duplicated code. Then now you are removing the duplicate code, but we are getting rid of the Meteor, or are you just using the same code that you are using to use? Because we duplicate the code to like remove the Meteor part and the fibers. So now we are, because when the time arrived to run the microservice alone, we don't want to build using Meteor. We want to build like using pure JavaScript or TypeScript or whatever. So that's my question. We are removing the duplicate code and running only pure JavaScript, but or Meteor JavaScript.
Yeah, we are doing both. Like the new microservices infrastructure code will run without Meteor.
Without Meteor.
So yeah. So that's the.
It's a big step.
Yeah, and that's what we have been doing.
Basically, let me add this. Basically, what we did is to isolate that code to be able to be imported by Meteor and by the microservices. So we reviewed all the code that were in both sides and merged them to be the same and ensure that it's not missing anything, and make it independent of dependencies. So we are using kind of dependency injection, and we instantiate a class on both sides and pass the dependencies to them. So we can use a single code from both sides now.
Okay, basically it's how it was working the MVP, just like with some new.
Yeah, we basically reviewed all the code to ensure it was not missing anything, and change it most the part of the Rocket.Chat to use the same code, right?
So
And
you removed the duplicate code from the Rocket.Chat side, not on the Microsoft side.
yeah, basically yes.
Yeah.
It added some missing part that we didn't have on the microservices implementation. Yeah, and unified in a single. We called it modules, so it all are dependency injections and free from any dependencies. Dependent only on interfaces from TypeScript. So you rewrite a lot of things on TypeScript as well to be able to do this. Okay, and just to mention that the issue on 3.7.1 was my fault when we were converting or making the option to have an Opelog version not dependent on Meteor to be able to move to microservices and away from Meteor as soon as possible as well. We had to reproduce how Meteor was dealing with Opelog. And so you could use the Opelog version or use the change stream version to listen for database changes. So you had to have our own code. And on doing that implementation, option was missing from TypeScript interface, so I didn't add that. And it was like pulling the database very, very often. And it was making the CPU too high. And so that was the name of the option was like await data or something like that, wait for data. And that was preventing to pulling the Opelog frequently. And yeah, that's basically the only difference we had from the Meteor's implementation from what I did. And that was causing the issues. So it was causing just for the people that wasn't able to use change stream. So if we're using an old database or using Nmap storage engine, they were using our version of the Opelog dating, and that had the problem. So that's why they changed it to the use native version of the Meteor. It wasn't an issue, and if you was using the new MongoDB and new engine, it was an issue as well because it was using change stream.
Do we expect any performance changes between people using change stream versus Opelog, or do we expect it to be like now to be like on par?
We didn't see any improvements on Open while we were running that for some time. So I don't think we're going to see performance improvements, at least not on the Rocket.Chat side. It will be more, in my opinion, more visible when we have the microservices and then the stream hub, just a single process listening to database instead of all the processes listening to the database. That will make the difference probably. But now on monolith, probably will not change much.
Actually, as far as I know, the change stream introduced like a small delay between sometimes they processing some instructions. So sometimes you can face like 10 seconds from some delay. Just if I'm not mistaken, because it's all like in some tests, but yeah, beyond that there is no difference. Actually, the change stream just helps to scale the database stuff, right? It's not
Yeah, exactly. I saw when I was implementing this first version, I saw it change stream was much lower than the Opelog daily, the first implementation, but it was due to a limitation on the connections. I had to increase from 1 to 5, and then it started to be faster, probably because it started queuing or some internal logic to be more efficient to attend multiple clients. But yeah, I don't know. It will increase directly the performance. At least not on the Rocket.Chat side, maybe on the database. Okay, so Aaron, do you have anything from the cloud to share?
Of course. So last week we actually merged in Fleet Command, the support, and I guess since this is public, Fleet Command is the API that drives the provisioning on cloud. But in that, we actually added support for partners to have sub accounts. This is useful so that a partner can actually provision a workspace and manage the billing for their client, that then the client can actually log into the cloud, see things like their push usage, log into Marketplace, things like that. So basically, they're able to manage their workspace, but then the partner still maintains control over the billing. So this is actually going to go live probably like today, hopefully. And other we have the marketplace. So the work for moving the TypeScript compiler. On the marketplace side, we had to implement a worker, and that worker is also about to go live. And then we will like retroactively compile the previous apps, and to get the new endpoint for marketplace over to, like, I guess backend, or I don't know. I'm not sure exactly where I'll go from here, but basically to fetch the compiled version, right? So the Rocket.Chat can actually pull that version instead of the TypeScript version. We expect to have them compiled and like the endpoint over before the end of the week. The push gateway, we had, with the UI that was introduced in the Cloud Console last week, to allow customers to view their like push usage. We are now moving forward with the cat project. So this will, we're going through basically to allow the setting of caps, increasing of caps. We're still kind of working through one last section for the full details of how they will be able to purchase the add-ons. Sales has some requirements there, so we're trying to work through those final details. Then I think the other thing we're working on is the cloud registration, new cloud registration flow. The design has been implemented, or not implemented, has been I guess completed. So now we're gonna take that and actually convert that over into like a technical RFC. Like, how will this technically actually happen? While supporting the old way, right? Because we don't want to break how things worked. We need to make sure that we have a kind of very clear cut, like how this will work, supporting the new way and the old way. And I think we've got several RFCs that we would love feedback from the rest of you. Would be very useful. Thank you.
Right. Are those RFCs open for the community or internal only yet?
Internal, but that's actually an interesting question. Maybe they shouldn't be internal. Don't know.
Yeah, let's take a look and see. Maybe we can make an extra phase to make it public, right?
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
All right. Any question? Extra question? I don't see any hands. Yeah. So front end, Gazo, do you have anything to share from the past week?
I can talk about the sidebar again. We are still working on this mission to rewrite all the Rocket.Chat and using the new framework, using React. And now we are working on the sidebar. And since we already cover all the normal users, but since we have a lot of summations and like a lot of view modes and anonymous read, anonymous write, and we are like finishing all these features. We are trying to keep like similar or more close than we are using as possible, but maybe we can introduce some break change, some color or some theming stuff. Maybe we gonna introduce like this break change. And we are like the tests and the benchmarks are like very good. Actually, we are like saving memory, but not spending so much memory on the rendering the sidebar, mainly when we have like a lot of rooms, or mainly the old users are more like easy to have. Like we are facing a good improvement on the performance, and we are about like I'm not sure about how close you are to finish all the rewrite, but we are for sure more close to finish. Like now, just we miss the runes. Okay, the runes is more the most important feature on the Rocket.Chat, but it still is just the runes, and we are at cover all the admin and the sidebars, and yeah, I think the main relight or the most important thing is the sidebar. That's it.
Yeah, I had to say that it's a really good improvement in the CPU performance. My Rocket.Chat desktop application was consuming like 30% of one of my core CPUs, and now it's like 8. It's much
Yeah, we still have the problem how we like subscribe the presents, so we still receive all the presents from server, but now we are like ignoring in a properly way, in a better way. So we're still not 100% like proof of like perfect, but we are almost there. And yeah, now we are like avoiding a lot of computations, a lot of stuff that we had before, like a lot of Blaze like suggests us to use like the settings and the other stuff like in a wrong, or at least not the best way possible. So we had a lot of since we are using the user collection to reach the user settings and to get the user presence, each change on the collection would like he render, not he render, but at least he computated the queries, and we had like 2,000 or 3,000 computations to check, and yeah, not only in CPU but in memory, like we had a lot of queries in memory, and so that's why we reached this improvement. Like we reduce maybe from 400 mega to less than 100. So yeah, it is a good number.
Yeah, that's nice. Do you have any expectations when are you going to have this release? Try to make this for this release or the next one?
To be very honest, I think we should like release in a major release, because we are probably introducing some change. Like probably if somebody like changed the templates or customize something, we are like ignoring all this stuff and creating a new component.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could like pick the better moment, I would like pick the 4.0 instead of 3.8. Just to be like transparent with this major and minor stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something you don't have like a rule, right? We kind of consider only APIs and breaking changes. Yeah, so I have my doubts about this, because if you were taking care about each part of the interface or even the backend code for customizations, we maybe need to have a major release on every release. So yeah, I don't know, but I understand this is a huge change.
I would like to split the client and the server. Like, okay, they need to work together, but like we like follow at least we try to merge the majors maybe, but the minors they could like go in a separate way, just to give more like flexibility, or I know, but or even like run different clients in the same server and check how maybe okay, my server we could like ship or release multiple, at least 2 or 3 of front-end clients, all the clients that we support, like just like if we introduce some break change, you could like return to the old stuff, and
yeah,
we have these plans in the agenda to talk about, but we need to finish the migration before.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, thank you. So Melo, what do you have from the past week on mobile?
Hey guys, last week we released 4.11 on Google Play and App Store with tons of stuff, and end-to-end encryption is one of them, and user credentials encryption also. The F-Droid Store's version is waiting review from their side still, and hopefully we can get it released by the end of this week. We also finished a couple of improvements for the end-to-end encryption itself, like integration tests, reset end-to-end keys, change end-to-end key password, and more. This week we've been working on cleaning up Jitsi to remove some unused libs like calendar and support for third-party services, which we don't touch, and they're just increasing our bundle size. And on supporting App Store Connect API on Fastlane, which is a new way of building new way for Fastlane, because Apple released this API a while ago already, and this new API allows us to upload and build content to Test Flight and App Store without any action from our side, which is awesome. Later this week we'll be working on supporting new threads on mobile, and maybe we'll release an early version of it, of 4.12 I mean. That's
right.
it.
Thank you. So Renato, what are the news from the Omni channel on this past week?
Yeah, so on Omnichannel, I will basically talk about integrations today. The first one is a new integration with Telegram. We launched the first version of this integration last week. It's kind of a milestone for us. You know, it's a long-awaited feature, and our community, our customers and partners, they were waiting for this moment, because, you know, Telegram is a very popular communication channel. So companies use Telegram to reach out to their audience. And the feedback we got so far is very positive. So it's important achievement for the product. Talking about the other items, the next one is we are improving our integration with Dialogflow when it comes to customer service. Chatbots, they are important piece of this process. So we are now adding the ability to send and receive audio messages through this integration. You know, people are getting used to sending audio messages instead of text messages, and it's important to be able to deal with this kind of behavior. And now our integration is able to do that. So it's important thing to share today. And still on Dialogflow, we are adding support for multiple languages. So you can set default language to chat with your chatbot, on Dialogflow. So let's say you have a chatbot agent that is able to, is trained to answer questions in different languages. You can set up a default language to when we start a new conversation. The other item is on 360 Dialogue. For those who doesn't know what it is or what it does, 360 Dialogue is it's a WhatsApp broker. So companies that have a 360 Dialogue account, they can set up this app on our marketplace and use it as a channel. So we are now improving. We are adding some UX improvements, like we are adding new settings. So admins, they can set like reading messages, closing chat messages, and also display agent information with the omnichannel end user. We do the same on our live chat widget, and now this is kind of a standard feature set that we want to have in all of our entry points. And yeah, the last one is regarding our plans. You know, the omnichannel roadmap is broad, but we are focused on specific areas, not just chatbots or channels, but also on CRM integrations. We already have a CRM integration that we built and released as a Rocket.Chat app. It's integration with HubSpot, and now the next one is a new app that will connect Rocket.Chat and Salesforce. So we're going to use the same behavior, the same design pattern. I'm talking about, you know, UI components. We have the UI kit, so we can explore a lot of very interesting components. And you know, the feedback we got about HubSpot is also very positive. So I think we are going the right path. So yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Renato. Well, so I guess just extra from my side, to mention people that are joined the company recently and the positions you have open. I guess it's worth mentioning that we have one Rocketeer that joined the Renato Becker team recently, that's helping us to make those apps to go live. And on the front end team with Caso, we have a Rocketeer that joined last week, I guess, and we will have another one joining in 2 weeks, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Right. And on the back end, sorry?
No, just agree with you. Just we had these additions.
Yeah, I had these additions to start moving faster. And on the back end, we are interviewing people who have 3 positions open for the back end. So we hope we have more Rocketeers joining on the back end soon. And we have a position open for engineering manager as well. So that's going live today. And let's see when we're having someone joining on this position as well. So thank you all for listening to this weekly report podcast, and thanks for the Rocket.Chat engineer team to make this possible. See you all on the next episode.